And away we go. Pretty positive the audio is sitting right, but you guys let me know. Is that Omegon's twin in chat? Is that a Primarch that may or may not be known as Alfarius? He says, "Woo! Didn't know you played Dark Angels." I don't. I'm just painting this one. Just painting up this one for a little narrative event or narrative scenario. It's a one-off, but I think he's a pretty cool dude. Got the base colors of the armor down to a level that I'm pretty satisfied with, and I think the scheme can just be carried with edge highlighting, because Dark Angels kind of go hard in that regard. Audio is all good? Perfect. Let me turn my headphones up here. Hopefully that's okay. Hopefully that doesn't upset the YouTube. I try to ride that line of having the music just loud enough. What's the scenario? It's essentially a little casual drop in, drop out, kill some bugs. A bit like a Helldivers extermination mission is how I would frame it. And they're gonna have a little bit of chapter representation. So it should be cool. I'll make a video about it on the channel, but yes, things have been busy. Things are happening. Surprise, surprise. Summers are always busy, right? Because stuff happens. Okay, so where did I leave off on this guy? Well, we want to probably put Seraphim Sepia on the robes. Let me look up Master Lazarus's robes. Yeah, it's looking more of like a Seraphim Sepia sort of color. Chapter badge is actually a fairly clean white. Whereas the robes and the chest Aquila have that bone ivory color. So like the Rogue Trader board game, in a way. I'm taking some liberties, some design liberties to change a few things because I have a few minor grievances with the current rule set of 40k 10th edition. So we're taking some narrative liberties. You know, more and more I find myself using narrative as the outlet for this sort of thing. Like, if the game was just narrative and just satisfying in itself, I wouldn't have these predilections. Okay, so we're going to use some Seraphim Sepia on the robes. I think that's what we'll do next. And then we'll probably build up the armor from there. We've got to do the eye lenses at some point as well, which I have reference for. Well, it's red, which is easy enough. Okay. Let's get some wash going. So what's on your hobby desk? Share with me the hobby camaraderie so I can feed off of the hobby energy of chat. Keep my own motivations high. At Nathan, I can't read this. What does let this say? At Nathaniel Walker for $1.99 US. Thank you very much for the super chat. Asks, who is Cypher? Is he a loyalist or a traitor? That, Nathaniel, is an age-old question. Depends who you ask. I would love some lore updates around Cypher. Technically, according to the Imperium, he's a traitor, but there are points in the lore which suggest that Cypher has nobler intentions than your average traitor Astarte. But look, his data sheet is in the Chaos Space Marines Codex, not in the the Space Marine Codex. So the official answer is he's a traitor. He's a traitor. But I would have killed for a lore update when the line returned with Cypher. I think that would have been rather cool. Okay, let me get my safety stand. I don't want any disasters. I don't want any disasters. Alfarius says he's Alfarius. No, Cypher is not Alfarius. Look, never trust the Alpha Legion. Okay, that's your first rule of thumb. They are not to be trusted. They think everyone's Alfarius. It's actually a psychological condition. Okay, we're gonna just layer this all over our parchments and our robes. Then we're gonna build it back up to that ivory color. That makes the Dark Angel scheme look so good. So we're not going for Golden Demon here, okay, but we are going for Tabletop Plus. Well, this gotta be pretty cool. We can have some overspill. Not a big deal. I feel like I got the camera settings just right this week. Look at that footage. So crisp. The tech priests shall be pleased. This is Alfarius says, waiting on the Templar's Codex so I can start painting my Crimson Fist flavored Templars. Oh, it's too bad the Crimson Fist didn't have rules of their own. What, you're stuck using Anvil Siege? Well, look, you're stuck using whatever you choose in 10th edition. To be fair. Man, remember when the Crimson Fists had no matter the odds and the Fist of Vengeance and they would just fist everybody down? Those were good times. And what a flavorful army rule, right? Playing around being outnumbered with MSU, encouraging you to build MSU units. You know, there's probably an old thematic list built on the channel, built around that very idea. I should actually check for other Aquilas, other bone elements, ivory elements, before continuing, but I do enjoy feathering into the wash as it dries. Nathaniel Walker says, will Lionel Johnson kneel before the Imperial Regent when they meet? No. I wouldn't want that. That feels like a bridge too far. You want the lion... Okay, my opinion, right? You want the lion to be more mature, more dignified, but you don't want him to, like, prostrate himself to Guilliman. That's a bridge too far. But you want him to be goal-oriented and not to just stir up problems in the face of the grim darkness of the galaxy, right? Stir up needless drama. Because that feels a bit cringe also. So, you know, you want him to be respectful, maybe a little standoffish, but cooperative. Personally, I want my loyalist Primarchs to be cooperative. SWAT drama, welcome to the chat. OG helmets for the First Legion are like fire and heretics, a perfect match. I think so. I like the classic helmet. Get some classic helmet marks in your range. Even GW is doing it now. Okay, we're going to need metal color on the nacelles, or whatever these are called, the vents here, the exhaust ports. I don't think there's any other elements you want bone color. This probably should be steel. Then reliquary boxes can be bronze, I think. Oh, you know what? This parchment. We're going to want that to be... Definitely going to want that to be an ivory color. Let's look at Master Lazarus for a sec, because he has a similar shoulder pad. Oh wait, I think this is his shoulder pad. Oh no, I think it's a little different. Close enough. Close enough. Yeah, so we'll need to go in there with the ivory color. I believe I used Rakarth Flesh. The wet palette is rather full, and it's functioning true to name for once. And it's the one time I don't want it to. I'm getting some color mixing that I don't necessarily want. I do like those new Space Wolf miniatures. I don't think they're necessary, but they're very pretty. I do think it's probably a waste of resources. SWAT Drama says, personally, I wish I could change my screen name on this site. I made it back in middle school, and it's like when you remember a cringe memory. Relatable. Look, we've all been there. I'm pretty sure you can make just a different YouTube profile on your Google account. I think you can do that. It should be a thing. I feel like I've done it. Well, I definitely have done it. I just can't remember when or how. Because I have my channel account and then the old, the regular profile. SWAT Drummer says, would anyone be interested in some paint history? Regale us with your paint history. So, I'm gonna get some white, mix it in with that Rakarth Flesh, and start layering up. Hopefully, the blend is thin enough. I can tease some of it out onto the palette here. There we go. Look, I have corrected my alignment. You know, one of these days, I'm going to be really good at streaming my painting. Let's brighten up this edge here. Some some manual edge layering. Yeah, unfortunately, chat, I have a confession to make. Last time we streamed, I discussed the idea of a Deathwatch thematic list build. And I regret to inform, with a heavy heart, I must inform you that it has not happened yet. And it may not for a while. It may not for a while. This event I'm prepping for is going to consume a vast amount of time. And I'm probably going to, it's going to consume some hobby time, and it's going to consume some content creating time. Because I will do a little showcase and explanation of the little custom scenario I'm putting together for it. Nelson Cruz says, "Evening, y'all." Oh, what a nice evening it is. Yes. What's on your paint desk, Nelson? Or is it more of a hanging out type situation with you? That's cool. I welcome people who don't hobby to the chat. You can hang out. You will not be shunned just because you're not hobbying. Though I do enjoy some hobby company. Feels energizing, you know, when you got people down in the mines with you. Now, this is fairly watery. Shouldn't be too surprised. It's thin. The paint is thin. Stay within the lines. I mostly did it. Mostly stayed within the lines. It took maximum concentration, though. It was not without great effort. Island Ranger. Welcome to the chat. Yo, dropping by to give support a fellow model painter. Hell yes, dude. Hell yes. I'm trying to get my World Eaters Combat Patrol box done myself. See, there we go. We're having some hobbying happening in chat. Love it. We can feed off of each other's hobby energy. World Eaters Combat Patrol. What's in there? Berserkers, 8-bound, maybe a Rhino, maybe 8-bound, my least favorite unit. I mean, that being said, I do appreciate the World Eaters. They have a kind of purity that's uniquely theirs. A purity of purpose. Okay, let's see if we can get these feathers. It's just the tips, right? Just the tips is all we need. And then if you do the tips, the eye will do the trick, as they say. Bewildered, welcome to the chat. At What the 40K posted 2 different color schemes in the Manufactorum that I love but can't decide which one to paint. Okay, I'll take a little look-see, take a little paint break. What's in the Manufactorum? Fun fact, the Manufactorum is a channel in my Discord server where people post their hobby progress. Okay, I see. So you got these blue-looking Black Templars with the Crimson Fist heraldry, the Crimson Templars, if you will, and you have this much darker scheme. Well, it's a hard comparison because one is like super pro painted. And it's biasing me greatly. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. The Crimson Fist stands out more because there's fewer red elements. I'd go with the latter. Alfarius. Starlit Misfit. What's up with the chat names? It's all different this week. Did YouTube change how it operates? Woo Dark Angels indeed. Well, Dark Angel, just singular, just one. He is the only one. He is the one, like Jet Li in that one movie, where he is the one. Wait, isn't that movie about cloning? And there are many of him, actually? Or maybe I'm thinking, I can't remember. I could be mixing up movies. It is possible. Okay, so we're gonna have to freehand something on his banner. Usually your name goes there, so everyone knows who you are. So we're gonna have to give this guy a name. Something Dark Angels appropriate. They all have a certain way their names are, so you have to go with something appropriate, like Steven. True Dark Angels fans know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's continue with these wing tips. These Aquila tips. And I do adore the Dark Angels color scheme. They definitely have like the best batting average of all the legions that color swapped from 30k to 40k. Right, because even their black and red looks so good. Misfit says, tomorrow I am co-running a game/table of Kill Team, 40k, at a community event tomorrow. Got just about everything prepped. Oh, awesome! Running a game/table of Kill Team. That is what I like to hear. You got to engage with your hobby community. The hobby is best enjoyed with other people. So is it a competitive event? Or is it more of like a narrative Kill Team event? Now, I don't know if there's a huge audience for that in Kill Team. When I was playing Kill Team, I immediately, exposing myself to all those mechanics, I immediately had a whole bunch of ideas of things you could do to enhance the narrative experience. But unlike 40k, Kill Team is just such, it has much tighter mechanics, and so it's harder for me to just want to do narrative things, because it actually offers a pretty satisfying gaming experience. Especially compared to 40k, in my opinion. I think 40k is about the spectacle. It's about putting cool stuff on the board, and telling some stories with the stuff you spent time building. I'm not really painting in the direction I'm supposed to for these, but I think in spite of that, turned out okay. Turned out okay. We could possibly bump the brightness on the corners a little bit. I kind of like the corners being the brightest part, so then you got some gradients as it connects to the skull and goes across the chest. Duke Johnny, welcome to the stream. Cheers from fellow Dark Angel enthusiasts across the Atlantic for the Lion. Indeed, for the Lion. This is my one little tribute to the Lion. Because, you know, while I like the Dark Angels, I will not be building a whole army of them. But a single cool dude, that I could live with. So how do you paint cloth? That's the question, the age-old question. I think the trick is to create very soft gradients on these large panels. I found that to be the best technique when I was doing those Age of Sigmar guys. What are they called? Stormcast. I don't have any on hand. I moved them. I moved them away from my hobby desk, or else I'd show them on screen. I'd show a reference to what I'm talking about. That being said, there's not a ton of surface area here, so I think you just gotta work within that. Yeah, we do gotta put some metal color in his mouth grill too. Okay, we'll have to bust out the metal color sooner rather than later. But first, let's finish off this tabard. Misfit says, just general games. Basically, there's a big comic/GameCon thing going on across the town center. Me and some of the guys from the local game club are running a bunch of tabletop games in a place like that. Yeah, sounds very cool. Actually, sounds similar to what I'll be doing as well in a few weeks. Yeah, prepping this Dark Angel for a little narrative event. And I'll very much, I mean, the plan is, I should be able to get a video before the event and after. We'll see. That's the intention anyways. What kill teams are being brought? Not sure about the other guys, but I'm taking Tau Pathfinders, Genestealer Cult, Wormblade, and Kasrkin. Built and painted as Vestroyan Brood Brothers. Yeah, that is a level of high effort conversions that are sustainable in a game system like Kill Team. Right? It's a massive undertaking to do that across a whole army. Right? But on a single unit, it's much easier to justify giving them that little extra something. Let's use what color for parchment? We want a bone color and maybe a bit of Steel Legion drab. I agree with Alfarius. I think you've found an Easter egg. Should actually work on the armor first. What's my rule of thumb? It is always paint inside to outside. Because then you're less likely to inevitably nick the wrong color on a particular component. At What the 40K, my local game store is planning to have a store-wide crusade. Never played it before, but I think the new Templar stuff will make it really fun. Yeah, I think Crusade is about as fun as your community can make it. That's like a nothing burger of a statement. Yeah, that's like for anything, right? That's regular play for that's like regular 40K. Yeah, it's as fun as your community can make it. You got a good group of friends, lots of laughs. You'll have more fun than you wouldn't otherwise, right? Crusade just has. I'm currently running a Crusade for my local play group. It's modified Crusade, an executive decision that I made after wrapping my head around exactly what Crusade is asking of its players. It's just a lot of bookkeeping, a lot of rules management. I have a script for a video, a thoughts on video on Crusade, which I'll probably use at some point. But yeah, Crusade is very information dense, a lot to track. And if you love tracking those sorts of stats and things, you'll probably have more fun with it than most, or than I would at least. I am but a man. I cannot speak for everybody. I need to soften that brown area here. Yeah, let's do a little bit of hatching. A little bit of hatching to soften that up. Misfit says I have my Hellbrood / Demon Prince Kit Bash just about ready to go in the Manufactorum. Well, 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 look at this. Quite impressive. Quite good. Ah, it's big. Got leg extensions in there. I should probably show this. I have the technology. Right? There it is. Yeah, so as you can see, there's extensive green stuffing, leg extensions, custom Prospirin Kokeshes. I like it more if it teleports, Misfit. It needs to teleport. So what did Space Marine 2 do to me? It needs to. It must teleport. All the more so if it's like part Demon Prince. It's a real demon engine. Hellbrits should be demon engines. Let's be honest, guys. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, who is GW trying to kid? They're not demons? Get out of here. See, how cool would that be? You make them demon engines, they're like their own thing, and then GW can cash in on the nostalgia bucks and make a Chaos Dreadnought. A multi-part plastic Chaos Dreadnought kit. That is Legion flexible, kind of like the new Demon Prince's Mark of Chaos flexible. Got a little head plate, so the Dreadnought can have a little face plate. Look at that. That's what they should do if they want the money. Well, they already are making the money, but look, that's just a good idea. They can have it for free. Bring back Chaos Dreadnoughts. Starlit Misfit says, I dub it the 9 Eyes of Tzeentch. Oh, I see, because it's got the 8 green stuffed eyes and the one in the middle. Oh, very neat. Now, you know what else we have to do? Let's put the company marking on this knee pad. There's a great many things to do for this battle, brother. Okay, so it's like a quadrant, a quad style checker pattern. Right? So you're gonna have it bisected. And we're gonna go across the other way too. Well, I hope this is center. I mean, all things considered, this is probably the... No, I was going to say it's the most forgiving company marker, but it's definitely not. There's simpler ones. Third or eighth company is just armor color and a black diagonal on half of it. But this one looks the best, I think. I think that's why GW uses it. Fifth company, Dark Angels for the win. Hey, there was that update for Space Marine 2. I did try one mission real quick of the siege mode, but I wasn't able to finish it. I had to stop, unfortunately. But it seemed pretty fun. I want to try it a bit more. Okay. How are we looking? It's kind of a disaster. Well, we can clean up this side with... actually, I think we're okay. It'll come together. Have faith. Have faith, chat. Is my black paint alive? Yeah, it looks like it. It lives. Kind of thin, but it lives. Tramari says I had to leave for a sec. What happened? Painting the knee pad, that's what happened. Yeah, this guy, I mean, this guy's a power sword, and it's like a master crafted, at least artisanally crafted power sword. So he's a pretty big deal. He's a pretty big deal. Okay, let's line that up a bit better. The D-pad's coming together. I need a bit more black paint though. Don't sneeze. That's a good tip for miniature painting. One wrong move and everything is ruined. Actually, I don't know if I like this. I guess I need to tighten up the bottom, maybe? You know, I have to tighten up that side. Oh, the struggles. Yeah, I think my center point was actually incorrect before. And now we're paying for it. Well, I am paying for it. We'll go back in with some green. But, you know, I washed the armor color with some Lamian medium and some Nuln Oil, and it kind of darkened everything down a little bit, so color matching is... it can be annoying. Okay, that looks to me, you know, at table length, you guys can't see it. But when I lean back, I feel like it looks pretty good. The halfway point reads from halfway. But maybe if he sneezes, then the model will have a new layer of green paint. Gross. No, definitely not. Don't sneeze on your models, guys. That's a pro tip. Despite what your gut intuitions tell you, it doesn't make your paint jobs better. You might think it's weathering, but it's not. What do you guys think? Metallic Vox grills or should it be black? Probably metallic, right? Like a dark gunmetal. I feel like that's the right choice. Pro tip, always sneeze on models. It adds more texture to them. Oh, disavow. No way. I mean, if you're into Death Guard, maybe, but even then, I feel like you're role playing a bit too hard. Like, just because you're Death Guard, or just because you're playing Death Guard, doesn't mean you shouldn't bathe. Especially in the warmer months of the year, like game stores, I tell you guys. Game stores can get a bit problematic. Whoops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did the stream die? Are we all right? Okay, I think we're all right. Right, so I'm gonna paint the eye lenses. Might sound a little crazy, but I won't, like I said, inside to outside, so we're gonna try it out. Now, in the classic helmet, I would like to give it a classic aesthetic. It's a bit of an artistic pairing, right? So I want to try and paint those gemstone eyes that I would always look to in my youth and be like, wow, look at those eye lenses. Now, if it's too much of a struggle, we can always double back to the old default. But you know what? It's a little harder than it would otherwise be because of this hood. We'll see. We'll see how we fare. It does seem like you want orange, though. I have some yellow on the palette, so we can mix it with some red. Do a little bit of blending. Some real-time blending. What does chat say? Metallic? Always metallic. Okay, perfect. Perfect. You know, my gut intuition was metallic. I just thought I'd check. Just thought I'd see what chat feels on the matter. Okay. So, is it possible? Can I put some orange in the front corners of these eyes? Uh-oh. Well, look, see? This is why we paint inside to outside. Because we can clean up our helmet as we go. Okay, then you basically have like a brighter orange dot in one corner and a white dot in the opposite. Which I don't know if it'll read because he's wearing a hood, but we'll see. Also, execution's a factor with regards to will it not read. we'll see. This is the joys, the experimentation that comes with real-time painting. You're not sure what you're going to do, and you're like, oh, we'll figure it out as we go. Can I line that up a little bit? Put a little bit of dark red here. And we got a bit of white. Now, whites can be a little annoying. Clip it. No. I mean, with regards to consistency, with paint consistency, because it tends to be chalky. Well, look, I don't think I nailed the aesthetic, but I don't think it's terrible either. I think it's painted eyes. Good enough. Metals, and then we're going to do some armor buildup, which is that's where the money's at, right? For Dark Angel's color scheme, it's all about building up that armor, having those nice green highlights. You know, some people don't like the aesthetic, but I'm not one of those people. I think it's a pretty good looking armor. Pretty good looking armor aesthetic. Altheria says, we chillin'. We good, says Island Ranger. Hell yeah, we chillin' and we good. Yeah, so here's a little bit of Vallejo metal color. My new favorite. Dura Aluminum. I'm gonna mix that with a bit of black. Gonna mix it down to get something gunmetal-ish. If we go, we want it a bit brighter, we'll grab a bit more. I kind of hate how GW metallic paints go on models, but this metallic paint is just way more mobile, it feels like. It feels like a chore to get the GW bolt gun and lead belcher to actually move around the model. But look, this goes on smooth as eggs. Ah, Dark Angels don't paint that metal underneath here. Well, that's how I paint my backpacks, so that's how it's gonna go. That's how it's gonna go. We'll call it a little bit of artistic liberty. This is how they operate now. It's like a good section. It's a good component of the model to just break up. Add a bit of metallic color to break up the backpack's details, make it a bit easier to read at a glance. I think it is a general aesthetic improvement, if I'm being honest. Oh my god, I gave him an upsized shoulder pad on this side, and it's gonna make this impossible. It's impossible. I mean, could have been worse. Could have been worse. He's looking pretty good. Any other metallic components? Oh yes, the box grill. Of course. We're gonna have to null and oil that for sure. Want this to be as readable as possible. This will probably be metal. And I got quite a bit more metal color, so we're gonna mix some bronze into that and apply his little. We'll do the reliquary on his hip now. Red lenses for the angry boys. True. Except World Eaters because of contrast colors, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. It's also unfortunate that blood doesn't read well on their color scheme. Oh, that's why the 30K color scheme is better. That's a fact. Fairly agreeable one, I'm sure. Right, so we'll use Balthazar and mix that in with the remaining Duro aluminum. Okay, so... Oh, Balthazar is looking a little thin. Yeah, he's at the end of his life. Good old Balthazar. I only need a little bit. I like doing this with Retributor armor because it just makes it a much more palatable color in my opinion. Retributor armor is just so aggressively yellow. I think it really benefits from some toning down. See, like, look how bronze this is, and we already toned it down. I think I made the right choice. Because now when the black wash goes over, it should look just interesting enough. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so we gotta get that gnome oil going because it'll take a minute to dry. But while it dries, I can probably touch up those soft seals. Give them a layer of Inktense Black just to make them glossy, because that's how I like my soft seals. Okay, so that's a bit heavy. That's okay, we can just pull from there. Should put it all over his mouth. Because we're going to be touching up the armor anyways. And while we have it on our brush, we'll probably not wash the leathers. We'll keep it looking fairly dry. I think that's going to be a winning strategy. To serve that, I'll use this olive brown from Vallejo, which should give it a matte, well, a matte finish. We're going to layer up this mixed with our Steel Legion drab on the palette. I get to worry about whether I'm going to be deported to some random third world country or not. Oh, no! Well, look. I'm rooting for you, Alfarius, okay? But if we can help it, I'd like to keep this stream apolitical. Good vibes, right? Good vibes. That's what we're here for. We're here to do some hobbying, some hanging. So we have brown belts on the Dark Angels. Well, it's how GW wants them. Like, shouldn't this really be armor, just power armor? It does do a good job to break up the body, but yeah, this isn't like medieval fantasy armor. This is, you know, fabricated ceramite. Would you really have a leather belt? And for the record, I'm not against leather belts on your Space Marines. I'm pretty sure all my Firekeepers do. I think. Now I'm going to be embarrassed if that's incorrect. Woo painting, screw politics, we only need the Emperor. Yes. Yes. We only need whatever the big boss of what we're painting at the time. So in this case, yeah, we only need the Lion, we only need the Emperor. For sure. Oh, actually, the keychain on that little booklet, the keychain, or the chain on his, on this prayer booklet, should be metal color. So we're just going to grab that real quick. Very quickly. Okay. I think all our pouches are going to be brown. That's usually how it goes. Whatever your belt color is, or use your pouch color. Finura. Holy stars, I almost missed it. No, you're good. You're good. We started late today, so we're only about halfway in for the usual time. But look, it's Friday evening. The night is young. I may do a bit of overtime. We might go into the after hours, after party paint stream. That implies that we're doing something different. It's just going to be more painting. I would like to bring this guy up to a good level, you know? So that he sparks a joy upon those who witness him. Actually, if we have the Steel Legion out, might as well do the Parchment. Definitely getting some variance here, but that's okay. Maybe there's different types of purity seals with different types of paper. Some are older, some are newer. Turned me into a Skitarii Marshal. Nelson Cruz says, so I'm new around here and just curious, why Dark Angels? Because the Dark Angels are awesome. But really, I'm not doing a whole army. I'm just doing a one-off Marine for a little narrative event. I'll be running in a few weeks. You can look forward to a video on the structure and format, but it should be pretty cool. As for why you'd want to collect Archangels, because you like the knightly aesthetic, and the Black Templars also offer a knightly aesthetic. But if you are also an edgier boy, then maybe the Dark Angels will be more to your preference. Because the Dark Angels are, you know, they got a chip on their shoulder. I think it's, well, what would you say, chat? You guys agree with me? Dark Angels are edgier than Black Templars? It's not to say the Black Templars are not angry, because they certainly are. But I feel like with the hoods and the secrets, you know, Dark Angels are a bit edgier. Definitely overlapping aesthetics with regards to some units. But you know what? That opens up conversion potential. Or, you know, you don't want to have duplicates in your collection. Maybe dip into the other range, paint it your way, convert it, kit bash it, whatever. Okay, looks like that wash is more or less dry, so let's clean up his face. I'm not sure how much to water this down. I want it to be fairly thin. I mean, not too thin. How thin are we? Are we alright? Okay, look at that. And just like that, he is like instantly more readable. Okay, I have a brighter green. I'm going to start blending towards it, and we're going to experiment on his face, which is a high risk area to do your painting experiments, but what can I say? I guess danger is my middle name. There we getting some nice gradients. Very subtle. Some nice gradients on the cheek. If helmets had a cheek. You damn blueberry. What's this about? Nelson Cruz says, I do Krieg, but quite like the looks of the Dark Angels, even though if I had to choose, I would pick the Smurfs, Ultramarines. Ultramarines are cool and based. Where is one? I have one here. Here he is. Look at this guy. Look at this Ultramarine. He's awesome. But you know what? Every chapter is pretty awesome. They all have something cool. They all have something cool going for them. Okay, I'm going to try layering up again. It's a little deceptive because the base color I'm using is scale 75, and their range has a very matte finish. So it's a little hard to judge what you're putting down when it's wet. Because when it dries, you find yourself looking at something much more subtle. Okay, let's try and hit those eyebrows. Let's try and add that kind of harsher edge highlighting. Try to paint in her eyebrows. Nothing wrong with painting in your eyebrows. Oh, it's happening. This is the edge highlighting I like for Dark Angels. Look at that. Now he's got to do it everywhere. And then we'll be done. Let me catch up with chat. In more happy news, I'm looking forward to visiting France at the end of July. I got an international driver's permit to drive to see an experimental archaeology castle being built. Gued-Elon Castle. Apologies for the pronunciation. That's exciting news, Tremari. Very cool. Very cool. Just be safe. Be safe on your travels, and it sounds like you're going to have quite the adventure. Exciting stuff. Finura says, finally went a bit deeper in my free time, and I have a problem. I cannot pick just one favorite legion. I sort of like all the armies. Yes. That is, it's not as uncommon as you'd think. Yeah, all the legions are pretty cool. They all have some pretty cool elements, some pretty cool themes you can lean into. It's almost as if it was by design. I wonder if I should be doing the scale 75 soft seals. Probably. If I don't, I'll probably regret it. Because it is the most internal component, and you gotta paint inside to outside. This isn't scale 75, by the way. This is just black paint. I just noticed I didn't put anything down on that on the back of this knee here. So now that everything is... Yeah, it looks like it's been washed already, but I prefer the finish of the Inktense Black. At Fenrir, that's why you play Deathwatch. Nelson Cruz says, that one cooks out with the 40k. Hell yeah. Wait, that's in reference to this guy? SWAT Drama says, thoughts about battle damage schemes. I like battle damage schemes. I feel like there's a sweet spot where battle damage can cover up a lack of effort and it looks better, and then if you cross too far beyond that, it turns into another time-consuming scheme. I mean, maybe it's a sweet spot or a bad spot, depending how you look at it. Depending on your painting time allotment preferences, I guess. It's just a lot of effort to do battle damage. I don't know. But I'm also a sucker for cleaner paint jobs, so... I don't think I have anyone battle damaged here. I have... There's a little bit. Okay, so look. Let me find this guy. So here I have an Imperial Fist, and he has some battle damage, right? But it's like, that stuff is painted in, right? So it's like more effort. You know, you gotta put your chips in, and then the highlight on the chips. The mud and grit is the easiest part, but I don't know. I would still like him just as much if it was only clean, you know? Guess it depends on vibe. Depends on the preference you want, your aesthetic. Both are good. That's my final assessment. Where did I leave off? Right, Inktense Black. So let me hydrate the palette while we're here. Oh no. Hold on. I'll try and avert this disaster. Okay, disaster averted. We lived. We survived. Apologies for the drama. I'm sure you guys were on the edge of your seat. Soft sealing. Any other soft seals visible around the legs? I don't think so. Nelson Cruz says, at what the 40k. Almost missed it. At what the 40k. That Ultramarine you showed looks awesome. But that Dark Angel is turning up great too. Oh, much appreciated, Nelson. Just pumping up my tires. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that Ultramarine turned out. We gotta get this this Dark Angels guy rather up to snuff. And I think edge highlighting will just add instant wow factor. It usually tends to, so I'm not too worried about that. Weapon color, like looking at Master Lazarus. Master Lazarus. Is that his name? Yes. Good to see you. Master Lazarus. This guy. Master Lazarus. They use gold? But it's not that awful orange from that Retributor armor. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse. There it is. Yeah, they use like such an orange Retributor armor. I don't like it. So we're going to dilute our gold a bit. I'll do some gold swords. Probably go with a blue handle. Something that isn't too loud. Alright, make a red handle. I think it might take away from the sword. But I think a blue weapon wrap would be pretty cool. Alright, we'll get some Inktense into the elbow soft seal, and I think we're done picking them all out. The Legion of the Damned mostly are decorated as flaming skeletal space marines, both in armor and damaged bits. You just gotta learn to paint flame effects, and the rest is basically just black armor. Fenora says, yeah, I agree, no red. Awesome. I had a feeling it was the right call. Okay, so oh crap. Look at this detail. Do we make this gold? Gold, gold, I guess so. And then gold up here too? That's a bit weird. Or am I overthinking it? Can you have all three gold? I feel like I'll be doing some back and forth on that. Is this a book or is it a container for secret things? I guess it'll just come down to how you choose to paint it. You paint it like a book, it'll look like a book. Okay, got some old blue on the palette. Maybe we'll just use that for our weapon handle. Ooh, bit of an abomination of blues. A bit of a freakish mixture of paint. I guess you'd want the pommel. That's what that's called, right? The pommel gold? Yeah, we can put gnome oil over that and it should look good. Should just read instantly. We'll get a brighter color, just layer it up a little bit. Swatchroma says maybe the arm badge could be bone like the Aquila. Oh. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, we could either do it the bone color like the Aquila. There's also the badge color, which is supposed to be a cleaner white. But you know what? Maybe it's best if it's left unique. The uniquely clean whiter emblem and the rest are bone colored. Let's try it out. We're gonna base it with Sky Gray. Where is it? This one. Vallejo Sky Gray. We're gonna mix in white for taste as we need. For taste in air quotes. That's a fairly cool off gray, which I kind of like. Yeah, that's an excellent color, just right out of the pot. Look how bright it is. And it's technically not a white paint, it's a gray paint, so it isn't it isn't difficult to deal with. Already looking more complete. Go figure, right? Go figure the chapter badge is an important detail. Spooky, scary Astartes. Just gonna add a bit of variance here, a little bit of texture with the brush. And if you're gonna put paint down, it's kind of crazy not to use it to add texture. You know, once you're comfortable enough, I think it only enhances the end result. Yeah, we are gonna have to give this guy a name. I'll put something on this pad. Though I guess I could always circle back to it. It's not crucial. I can always decide later. He must earn his name. That's the excuse. Yes, yes, he must earn his name. That's why we're not going to do any freehanding. Okay, we're going to wash that with Coelia Greenshade. It's going to darken it quite a bit, but then I'm going to brighten it back up. And that's the trick. That is the trick. I'll probably mix it with Lamy Medium as well, but I'm not going to dilute as much as I usually would because it's a small detail and I want high contrast. I want to enhance readability. It's an icon, it's a badge. So we're just gonna get a little bit of a mix going here. We'll probably just try a 1-to-1. Nelson Cruz asks, Apple to 40K, how often do you stream? I used to stream fairly regularly, and I'm getting back into the once a week sort of thing. I mean, there was a run where it was like pretty frequently doing painting streams towards the end of last year. It was just kind of easier that time of the year to do more streams. Tremari says, I think Caliban or Lion would work well if you can't decide her name. Yeah, Lion is... See, Caliban's a lot of letters. I like Lion. It's only 4 letters. Much less freehanding. And when you have a lot of letters, then you have to think about composition. Well, you always have to think about composition, but it becomes a much more vital thing to get right. Much harder to make sure Caliban is centered than Lion. And, you know, you have to write bigger or write smaller if the name's longer. Yeah, Lion's probably a good way to go. But I also like the idea of saying he must earn his name and just not doing it at all. That's always your answer forever when someone asks you, oh, there's no names on these pads? Like, yeah, no, he's got to earn his name. Still waiting. I wonder if I can find reference for how the Dark Angels scheme would approach this sort of detail. Like a Dark Angels Blade Guard or a Dark Angels Assault Intercessor. That's what I should look for. But I don't think GW took any official photos. Like heavy metal photography. I don't think there is any. They only did those for the Indomitus guys, like those first intercessors. Let's see here. Dark Angels, Indomitus. No, because now we're getting Blade Guard schemes. Of course. Let me check Master Lazarus. Let me check with Master Lazarus. He doesn't have anything either. Okay, let's check the Lion. Maybe I'll bring you guys on this journey. Okay, let's search. Let's search for Azrael. He's gonna have some details modeled in, right? He's a fancy guy. There is. What's the answer? White. Cool white. That's what we're doing. Look at that. Both shoulders, or both forearms, rather. Cool white. Oh, he's got skulls on his backpack. Interesting choice. Alfarius wants his name to be Todd. Nah. He's gonna earn his name. It's the new meme. What's Azrael doing on the Chapter Master's base? Azrael is the Chapter Master. I'll have you know. In fact, he's a Grand Master. Let me just water that down a bit, just in case it's too thick. Oh yeah, that's the right choice. Okay. Instant, near instant level increase of interest. I also like keeping, because you got a lot of metallic components already. So it's kind of nice to just not have as much repetition. Actually, we must quickly do this if I want to use up that wash. It's in the bottle cap there. The clock is ticking. Alfarius says, pull the model back up. Look to Azrael's right. What's on his right? His right. Oh, why can't I rotate this? Oh, are you referencing this this helmet right here? This little helmet? May or may not be a Fallen helmet. Yeah, the Fallen were a terrible mistake in how they were handled from a lore point of view, and I think that could have been greatly remedied with the return of Lionel Johnson and having a reform to his chapter's culture in the way it's managed, but alas, GW did not do that. At least not yet. It's kind of hard if you, like, you know, you can't exactly sell that and then resculpt a guy like Asmodai. Right? You just... I mean, you could say Asmodai has a new role in the chapter, and, you know, he's being reined in, and he's a big grumpy guy because of it. But I don't think GW likes change. They want Primarchs to come back, but they don't want them to have impact on the setting, which is narratively incongruent, but this is the timeline we find ourselves in. Probably do silver up there. Yeah. Keep the sword handle being the only thing that's like gold, I think. I think that's a good idea. Alright. Our wash. Is there enough? Oh, I think that'll do. It's enough. Whoops. A mortal wound. There it is. Oh, I see. I see. Alferus is being a goof. That makes it a bit more black here. And just going to... Yeah, gotta keep in mind this shoulder pad's also going to have the tactical badge and the squad number and all that stuff, so I think silver's the right choice. Don't want something as loud as gold when we're going to have all those other elements here as well. Null oil went on a little heavy up here, so we're just going to brighten that up. And you know what? That heavier surface that's a bit more grimy, it looks pretty good on the back of a power pack, honestly. Oh yeah, it's got this little skull on a rope, which needs to be painted something. Let's just make it a metal color, because I feel like a bone color is just going to be terrible for readability. So it's going to be some sort of skull charm. A silver skull charm. We'll give that a wash. Oh, you know what? We'll need to paint whatever that rope is holding it as well. Let's go with a dark blue. Oh, you know what? This was a Chaos Tabard. An old Chaos Space Marine Tabard. That's why it looks like this. Yeah, it's supposed to, I think, be connected to a Chaos Star, which was cut down at some point. So now it's just kind of hanging in free space, which looks weird. So just try not to think about it. Here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna paint across and then see if we can get away with that. Kind of got a purity seal covering up the worst of it. Is he a Dark Angel or a Blood Raven? Damn thief. Yeah, it's his little secret, one of many. Dark Angels and their secrets, am I right? Okay, emblems can be done after our armor, so I think we're basically, guys, ready to do the armor build-up. Some edge highlighting. Whoa. Some Nuln Oil on the Silver Skull for readability. Very important. And put some on the pouches, just to bring out their leathery details. Okay. Yeah, look what that Nuln Oil is just doing to that. What would be otherwise a flat looking pouch. Now we got some depth, some dimension. Let's see if this green is the right green. If it is right. If it is true. Okay, so we're gonna trace down this raised area over his chest. Just sort of trace. I mean, edge highlighting is certainly easier when you're able to just use the edge of your brush, but can't really do that on this element. Just have to free ball it. A bit thick on that one. You guys seeing this? It's coming together. Do you see? Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, armor's coming together. I like it. Gotta like take a look at a distance, you know? Get a full sense of a broader perspective, if you will. It's all coming together. Indeed. Fenora says, anyone having real bad allergies this summer? Don't jinx me, Fenora. Don't jinx me. It's very important. I've been strong. My body's strong, okay? So far. So far, allergies have been fine. But it could easily... Oh, man. If only there was some way to know what my stats are, you know, of my physical body and like my allergy defense stat. That's what I want to know. And then I want to know how I can increase that. And always keep that shit at 100. Like that'd be a huge quality of life improvement. Just pull up your stats. Let's line up this inner arm here. Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh, and the shoulder pad trim. The easy part. Just use the side of our brush. This easy mode edge highlighting. Whoops. Let me try and do my best to stay in view. There should be like an alert. You know, like an Amber Alert? Maybe not as serious. We'll call it like a cerulean alert, maybe. Use a cool color, because not as serious. And cool colors are pretty chill. But if I could get an alert when I drift off camera, that would be super helpful. See? I could have just used one right there. Honestly, it's not the worst problem to have. You have to clean up that parchment. See, that's a good example of the consequence of not painting inside to outside. Try and tighten that up a little bit. I feel like the shoulder pad is just prime real estate for trim, right? For edge highlighting. I'd like it to be a bit tighter. A bit tighter if possible. I'm just going to build up the Caliban green color on the flats, just to get a bit more contrast in the armor. It's subtle. We don't have much range to work with on the Dark Angels color scheme, because you still want it to be a dark green color. You gotta kind of work within that range. No! My Aquila! How could I do this? How could I have done this? There. No one will know. Eric Brandenburg, welcome. Alfarius says, out with the 40k, how do you increase my social skills stat? I don't know where all my stat points went into, but it definitely went. It wasn't something useful. Relatable. How to increase your social skill stat? I think with regards to developing social skills, I think you just have to get better by exposure, honestly. You just gotta talk and interact with people. Eric Brandenburg says, out with the 40k. Have you seen the enormous amounts of salt in Edmonton? No. I have not. I feel like there's a good joke to be made there about my salt for Games Workshop. Let's just straighten this up a little bit. I feel like it's dipping. I don't want it to dip. I want it to be straight. Better? If only his gun wasn't in the way. Yeah, that looks better. I feel like it's better. Eric Brandenburg says, my bad, that was an abrupt entrance on my part. You're good. The company is welcome. More hobby camaraderie, I say. I'll jump forward a little bit. I don't know if YouTube will have issues with... I find it's more sensitive with regards to music with the vocals or not. Seems like if there's no vocals, it gives me less of a headache on YouTube Studio. There might be something to it. There we go. It's like the most subtle Dark Angels color scheme. Jeez. I mean, I do think he's looking better for the effort. Let's try this side. Oh boy. That's too thick. No. This is thick hands. Eric says, nope, 2 years worth of bitter salt piled up in Edmonton. You know why. Eric Brandenburg says that my tip for social skills is learning how to chit-chat. I tend to pick out a detail about the person I am approaching and compliment it. That's a good tip. Good tip from Eric. Just ask questions. I mean, really, when I look at the Black Library, or not Black Library, the Heavy Metal paint jumps for Dark Angels, there does seem to be two passes of highlights. But I don't know if my mind is willing. Whatever that saying is, I don't know if that applies to me. You know the one. You know the one. Just imagine I said it. We can do like multiple passes on these ones because they're near his face. Alfarius is out of here. You take care, Alfarius. Thank you for stopping by and sharing in the hobby camaraderie. Yeah, this is usually around the time where the streams would stop. Well, actually, not quite. I mean, usually I'd stop the stream after 2 hours, but it'd be much earlier in the day. How does chat feel about different colored purity seals? You know, like candle wax could be made any color. Like a wax seal. I'm thinking, especially if you're doing like a red armored space marine, like a Blood Angel or a Flesh Terror, you might want different colors, maybe? I don't know, maybe that's heresy. Maybe that's like worthy of summary execution. The Imperium maybe only has red wax. Oh, this is a cool bit of armor panel right here. Oh, we're gonna gouge that out, and it's gonna look good. So I'm gonna mix some black with the dark green, come back in here, and just line that through. Are we out of silver? Oh, it lives. It lives. Just on this little plug point. That's where he charges his batteries. Eric Brandenburg says, any opinion on the new BT Chaplain model? Ah, I didn't notice that guy was previewed. Let's jump over to the GW tab and find him. Where is it? Oh, there's my reference. My cheat sheet. Exposed. My painting resources are exposed. Black Templars earlier this week, right? Where is this guy? I saw him. See all latest news? Surely it would be like in the thumbnail, right? Oh, Agent Murphy subscribed. Much appreciated, Agent Murphy. Okay. Well. Seems like the model has eluded me. Let's go to see all. Oh, no, not Horus Heresy. Latest news. Where is this guy? That's Horus Heresy. Oh. Oh, yeah, the end of the Dawn of Fire series. Actually, I have to read some of those books still. There he is. Okay. The Execrator. The Execrator will make sure you keep your vow to kill absurd about heretics. Space Marine chaplains are wrathful and uncompromising. But when you have a chaplain like the Black Templars, who already fight with the fury of 1,000 suns, it takes a special kind of righteous rage to stand out from the pack. Those who find their true calling, bellowing sermons from the front lines, find new purpose among the Emperor's Crusaders. And any with a particular predilection for smashing skulls in close combat are given the special rank of Execrator. For smashing skulls? It's probably not literally, right? It's like just killing in close range. Just taking names in close range, become Execrator. But it's also for bellowing sermons. So it's just a more combat-oriented chaplain variant, right? So like you have a stealthier librarian and the Phobos librarian. You have a smashier chaplain. But the base chaplain's already smashy. It's a +1 to wound. Like that's how they've chosen to characterize him. So what do you do to make this guy stand apart? Do we have rules here or just a preview? No, just a preview. It is the divine duty of the Execrators to ensure the Black Templars' holy vows are fulfilled in battle. Oh, he's gonna be for your rules. He's gonna give you pluses or minuses or to your benefits or whatever. Accordingly, their remorseless persecution drives the unit they join into a berserk fury, letting them charge at the same turn they advance. Auto by. Look at this rule. It's by design. Okay, here's a crazy idea. Just take your chaplain and just say he's that. You could just do that. Advance and charge for a melee army. This is your vehicle for that. But you're going to have multiple detachments. I wonder, that'll be interesting to see. Because Games Workshop has had a pretty good track record as of late to ensure fighty armies have that delivery mechanism as a stratagem. Right, you see many of the Tyranids attachments have it. I think the new Tyranids and the new Chaos one does for sure. The Cabal of Chaos. But my point is they've been pretty generous with doling out advance and charge to detachments from melee-oriented armies. But I'd be curious to see if they deny that from the Black Templars detachment, because now they want to push this guy. That's my conspiracy brain, right? Will they deny advance and charge stratagems because they want you to use this guy? He looks like he's on a 40 though, and they have so many characters on 40s. Like true Black Templars diehards probably had multiple chaplains already. So they give you advance and charge. Well, look, Eric, as a model, it's fine. I don't hate it. He's running, shooting his flamer. Pretty cool. Good for a Salamander's. It would be great for a Salamander's chaplain, but chaplains can't have flame pistols because that technology is not in accordance with the Salamander's themes. Hand flamers, no. Why would they? Only for this guy. It's kind of like multi-meltas on tanks, only for Black Templars. Yeah, it's a cool enough model. Is it necessary? No. It's the minimum viable product for Codex release, right? Your one character, your obligatory 40mm character model, or 40mm based character model. Don't love it, but if you must have a product to tie to the release, I guess the character is a choice. But it's a problem. Like, look how many characters are in certain armies. There's like excessive amounts. A problematic amount of characters. Okay, let's return focus to what's really cool. Our hobby efforts. Eric says, I already like the Crozius much better. It's a fine Crozius. Oh, you have two options in there. I don't know. I'm indifferent. Finura says, got a dip. The sleep is overtaking me. Well, you take care, Finura. Thanks for tuning in. Your company was appreciated. I'll hobby here for a while longer. We'll see. We'll see how the energy feels, how the vibe feels. Might be 15 minutes. Could be longer. It depends. Running kind of thin on the screen. Ugh. A little thick on the edge highlight there, but I think we'll live. Also a little bit of brush cleaning. Eric says, I want to see what that relic thing does. What relic thing? Oh, on the Black Templars model? Eric asks, how is your finger? Is it healed? Did it leave a scar? Yeah. Well, it's still, not done healing, but yeah, there'll be a scar. You can see the subtle difference in the light. Oh God. Okay, never mind. So, when your paints get messy, you want to just be doubly sure you're not gonna fingerprint your model. Definitely don't want those. Oh, that's a bit stark. We'll see if it's too much. Basically going in with like a pure green. And maybe on a smaller detail like the hand, it's justified because you're kind of fighting a bit more for readability because it's a smaller surface area. Maybe. This is how we justify it to ourselves. I mean, we can take that bright green and just use that here. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's that Dark Angels panel I'm talking about. That plasma will... it'll need something. But what do we... Well, it's going to have to be red. That's for sure the weapon casing color. But you know what's weird is that I noticed that Dark Angel's red weapon casings don't go all the way to the... They don't go all along the barrel. I need to find an example. Dark Angel's Plasma. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a super low res version to look at. It's some real Dark Age tech. Yeah. So I think I'm going to try to mimic that. Which means I need more metal color. It's still alive. Could potentially be extra thick, though. We'll have to see. Oh, no. See, just the metal color never fails. The Vallejo metal, that is. GW metal colors can screw right off. GW's other paints are are just fine. Bit expensive, but fine. We'll need to wash that. Okay. And the highlighting continues. Just looking at Master Lazarus here again. Yeah, I'm definitely going for a bit cooler of a color scheme. I think it still very much reads as Dark Angels, but GW seems to like warm colors. Warmer greens for their edge highlighting. Look at that edge. Hell yeah. That's what we're talking about. Well, it is a big old panel. Let's see if we can tighten that up a little bit. And there it is. It is fairly mundane work, but it just does the scheme so much justice. It's honestly the trick for any dark armor. The readability is just damaged otherwise. Compared to something like the Imperial Fists or White Scars, where you can just lean so much on the existing geometry. Nelson Cruz says, what the 40K? So this Dark Angels is for an event, right? What can you say is your main project right now? Main project right now is finishing off High Fleet Gengar, which is actually part of that narrative event I'll be doing. Because they're the bugs that the Space Marines will be hunting. But the main big project is, we're going to finish off, I'm going to finish off High Fleet Gengar. I think there's a Ripper Swarm base to do. No, there's a Ripper Swarm, and the base is on 3 Von Ryan Leapers, which I sort of worked on last week on stream. But barring those two, so relatively little, it's the Norn, the custom Norn for High Fleet Gengar. That's the final boss project of that army. It'll be like a monumental, not monumental, it won't be like Titan sized. It'll be a little bit bigger than a normal Norn. Looking at like 120-ish millimeter base, maybe like a 110. We're kind of going into custom territory for sure. I have the parts here. Oh, a little bit of a little preview for you guys. The select few in chat. So here's the big chonking base. Okay, pretty huge, right? Marine for scale. And I have the parts acquired, so I would be jumping into this immediately, but this narrative event is it's gonna put this custom Norn on the back burner. But here is the base of the custom Norn. It's actually Butov's sculpt, which has been discontinued. But, we're looking at something like this as our base. Just a killer starting point for a custom Norn. Look at there's a gap there. How alien is that? So cool. What a cool sculpt. And all this detail is awesome. You'll never see it, right? But it might make for a good work in progress post. Yeah, so we got that as the final boss project for Hive Fleet Gengar. But it'll be on pause because of this narrative event. Okay, let's edge highlight those shoes. Very important. Always edge highlight your shoes. Should make like a spoof video for the channel. Top 5 hobby tips. Always paint your shoes. Remember to keep your brush clean. Just the worst tips. And the last tip will just be like, have fun. So it's really just 4 tips. Terrible. You know what, ironically, I think that video would probably do really good in terms of analytics. But the concept pains me. I'll try and darken this seam. I feel like it's important. Probably could use a wash for this, but... Eric Brandenburg says, that's because you have integrity. Not just integrity. Integrity. Nelson Cruz says, holy, that's a big bug. Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a little bigger than GW's Norn. But I won't have legs, because I want to have a more brain bug kind of aesthetic, because that's in accordance with Hive Fleet Gengar's thematic alignment. So it won't have legs, but it'll be a bit bigger scaled, but about the same height. That's the intention anyways, we'll see. We'll see how it comes together. It should be epic though, when it's all said and done. It's gonna be like, holy crap. And I'm hoping when other people see the video, they'll be like, oh man, I want to make a custom Norn for my Hive Fleet. Screw these 2 variants that we're beholden to. I mean, for rules purposes, most people won't take that leap, but at least for rule of cool purposes, people should be all about it. But I would love if GW just had a custom build your own Norn creature. See, like, those are the kind of rules that should be in Crusade, right? Build your own captain, build your own Hive Tyrant, build your own, you know, put this biomorph on this creature. Do whatever, like, mutate whatever you want. Like, if Crusade offered that level of, like, that wholesome stuff that's lost from older editions, right? Like orcs looting enemy vehicles and using those weapons at their skill. Like, that's peak 40k. Oh. We gotta round the circle here. I'm not really sure what this is. My servo motor. That's how he advances. And then when you roll the 1 to advance, it's that part right there that's not working. Uh-oh. Went a bit thick on that one. terrible. Listen, don't judge me. I am only human. Nelson Cruz says, can you share the lore of Hive Fleet Gengar? Hope it's written this way. I have a video on the... I have a thematic showcase on that kind of defines the themes, and it's written from an in-lore kind of point of view. But the gist of it is, it's a Hive Fleet that likes to be spooky. It likes to eat psychers. Like, you want to be spooky because of the Gengar theme. But you also want to eat psychers because of the Gengar theme, because Ghost type is super effective against Psychic type. So, I want to lean into that. That's the idea with the Hive Fleet. So, like, rules-wise... And I'm going to do a thematic list build for the Hive Fleet, for sure. I think that'll just be a cool way to reveal the custom Norn, also. But... yeah, I like fielding units that have brains, so a lot of brain bugs, Maliceptors, Zoanthropes, the custom Norn, obviously, and Lictors, things that like to eat brains. Because I think they're also just more alien and in turn more scary, rather than going into specializing in combat. So it's a thematic list that isn't really effective at killing, and Tyranids already have a killing problem. So when I play my Hive Fleet, you know, in your average local game store game, I find it's kind of hard to trade, just because my theme is kind of hurting my unit selection a little bit. But it's high utility, and it does have some spooky, fun payoff moments with Lictors being cool, getting the Assassin, being spooky monsters, which is the real way to enjoy your army. There's nothing wrong with playing your Tyranids and rooting for the Imperium. Eric Brandenburg says, of all my enemies I suffer to allow to live, none of them hate me as much as my 40k dice. Poetry. That is poetic. Yeah, I definitely have had some cold dice, and I try not to be a superstitious guy, you know? Try to be pretty rational, pretty reasonable, imperial truth, you know? But... it just seems to be like some dice I have roll well and some roll poorly, and I don't know why that is the case. Like my GW dice actually roll pretty well, though I'm not saying that as an endorsement. GW's dice are super overpriced. I'd much recommend Chessex instead. Just nice hand feel from Chessex dice. Actually, better hand feel because they got rounded corners often. Oh, chat, what do we think about his little book here? It's going to be a red book? Like his weapon casing? Or should it be something less eye-catching? Make a book red, it's going to stand out. It's going to draw a lot of attention. So what do you guys say? Weigh in on this matter for me. Well, I'm liking where the armor's looking. I mean, even on camera, it's like reading fairly well. Usually I'm just complaining. It's like, oh guys, trust me. It looks so much better. Nelson Cruz says lictors are creepy as hell, not gonna lie. Nightmare Fuel from Space Marine 2. Yeah, lictors are awesome. Such an awesome Tyranid unit. I like to... See, when I started the army at first... Wait, hold on. When I first started the army, I wasn't essentially meta chasing at the time. Unfortunately, fell into a trap that gets the better of me. But I've come around like an addict who's trying to shake off something terrible. I've come back to the thematic core. That should drive the hobby. But at the time, I was building a competitive list, and I leaned into a lot of warriors at the time because that's what I needed. And as things usually do, once you come back out of the meta chasing stupor, I realized, like, you know what? Tyranid warriors, while they do look good in Gengar's theme with the white weapon casings and all of that. Sorry, they do look good in Gengar's scheme with the white weapon casings. They don't serve Gengar's theme. And so that's what this recent pass on the Tyranids, on the High Fleet Gengar army has been about. It's about actually building the thematic version of that army, not just a scheme that's meta chasing with the units it fields. Which is, you know, much more cringe. Let's be real. Even with a little dodgy highlight in certain places, a little too thick, I think he's looking super good. It all kind of balances out in the end. Uh-oh, that was way too thick. Now we're just layer painting. I wonder if I can get away with that. Like, it's forward-facing, too. I don't like it. Chessex for the win, says Eric Brunenberg. It should be bound in heretic flesh. Oh, the book? Oh, no. I can't. It's clearly hard surface, right? This isn't a Night Lord's skin book. I mean, or an Emperor's Children's skin book, depending on how you look at it. Nelson Cruz says, in my opinion, book should be a tiny bit darker than the weapons red. You could. Yeah, we could also use like a burgundy, like a maroon. I actually have a Lazarus on screen at the moment, right? Like this color. This might be nice for the book color. You know, it's not a... basically the Purity Seal color. I have like mixed feelings about this model. In any case, let's get back to business. Eric says, I'm so sick of so many people treating 40k as a PvP game instead of a social hobby. Yep, that is... I feel you. It's certainly the lay of the land where I am. I mean, I'm trying to keep the narrative dreams alive. Like, everyone appreciates the narrative and the lore, from what I can tell. It's not devoid of passion, but it certainly changes the culture, and then it just means, like, non-competitive units are just not viable at all. Because everyone's just not leaving any wiggle room. It's just max gas or else, which I hate. I like when rules have inbuilt weaknesses. I like when army compositions like are encouraged to leverage those incentives. I want an army with some weaknesses to create, and I want my army to have weaknesses too, and there's a cool give and take. I get more character that way. Oh shit, we finished the playlist? Damn, guys. We've been hobbying for a while. Well, it's nearly over. This is like the last track. Or nearing the end anyways. I don't know if this is the last track. I mean, if I had to put a last track at the end of a playlist, it probably would be something that sounds like this. How about that other knee pad? So they don't highlight the knee pads too much. But I guess we should wrap things up. There are things that need doing. Things that need doing. The things that get in the way of painting. Look, we're mostly done the armor. We've done some other components as well. It's not without any progress. It's just not the most eye-catching stuff, which is gonna most certainly be the finely edge highlighted Dark Angel's plate. Oh god. I want to tighten that up before wrapping this up. Let me catch up with chat here. Nelson says, what's the plan for that sword? Well, the plan is to paint it fairly... Honestly, we're probably not going to do too much. It's going to have a gold handle, gold pommel. We're going to have a desaturated gold. It won't be like Retributor, because it's basically orange. We'll mix in some white to get a paler gold, so it's less offensive. I'll probably leave the letterings as is. Maybe edge highlight the edge of the blade. But I don't want to do too much to it, honestly. I still gotta do the plasma. Okay, well, that's where he's at. Nearly. you know, he's looking, you know, definitely tabletop plus with this level of armor. Alright, I guess we'll wrap it. Yeah, I gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Okay, everybody. Let me back up the music a little bit. Alright, so, you know, if you made it to the end, you know what you are. You're a hobby hero. That's what's up. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and shared in the hobby camaraderie. Thanks to... I had a super chat. Thanks to Nathaniel Walker, again, for the very generous super chat. Much appreciated. But with that, I guess I'll catch you guys... Whoops, that's not the scene we want. We want the outro, which is... did I move it? Oh, there it is. Alright, guys, well... A little bit of an awkward exit, but that's how I do.